Well, this is hard for a lot of people to believe unless you've been through it. But I had my kids taken away from me twice unjustly, and I got them back. Both times I got them back. Had to fight the system to get them back. Got them back. Never gave up. Always believed I was going to win. Who told you couldn't do that? What would happen if you did do it? We talked about it before, reframing. You have to ask yourself good questions. Oh, I can't do that. Well, how do you know you can't do that? Who told you couldn't do that? What would happen if you did do that? Now you just reframed yourself. Street one day, I didn't have any money in my pocket, and I really wanted a cup of coffee. And I was walking down the street, I saw $1 bill. I thought, okay, that's nice, but I really wish I had 100. Well, a couple more steps, there it was. Now, stuff like this doesn't always happen, but it happened. Well, now I can afford that cup of coffee. And I'm sure, you're sure that's a counterfeit or something, but yeah, it's a real $100 bill. I'm far more afraid of not succeeding. I understand the fear of failure. I understand that. I'm just like, I'm human like everybody else. I have the same fears and doubts, but I've learned for myself what works in my life, and that I'm a little braver than I thought I was. And maybe if you look down, deep down, you'll think, most people find out they're a little braver than they thought they was. I say a person only needs 3 things to succeed in life. They need a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. If I have any message, it's that you are one decision away from your future. You where you are now, take responsibility for where you are now.
Welcome back to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya. So grateful that you're here, that you're listening or watching this episode. Would love for you to share this episode with your friends, your family, and your workmates. And if you haven't already done so, please follow the podcast so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today, we're talking about your thoughts. They literally matter. Success leaves clues, and once you've learned to follow them, the life that you want just isn't possible. It's inevitable. Today's guest is Reggie Bowles, a life coach, a life hacker, and the founder of the Dreamers of the Day, where he helps people turn the biggest aspirations into tangible reality. Welcome, Reggie, to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great to have you here. Reggie, before we kick into some questions, I'd love for you to share your journey in life. We'd love to get some context around your childhood and how you grew up and what got you into what you're doing today.
Well, I was basically brought up, I'd say, lower middle class. Is a regular family, had a father that worked, a mother that was a housewife, but later on also worked part-time, and just brought up in the school system here in Oklahoma. Basically, graduated from high school, went on to the Army. After the Army, had a little bit of college, and basically I bummed around and traveled around and saw a lot of different things. And during my travels, and even way back in the day, I was always trying to find out what's the difference that makes a difference. Why are some people successful and why are some people not? And learned a lot of things along the way. And like I said, there's people smarter than me, but I don't think anybody's had the experiences I've had. So I've learned a few things I think can help other people in their path and trip.
So let's talk a little bit about the power of your thought and manifestation. And this is obviously a journey that you've gone through in your life as well on discovering this, right? So what is the power of thought and manifestation?
That's using your thoughts, contemplating, and realizing that your contemplations can become real. Once you realize who you are and what you are, that you yourself are a magnet and you attract into your life what you think about, good or bad, and really that you are your own best friend. Nobody's coming to save you. Sorry, I wish they were. Nobody's coming to save you. It's up to you. Now, I'm not saying you got to do it alone. It's better if you don't. Everybody needs to build a team around them of some sort. You need a team. I'm always saying teamwork makes the dream work. But you have to realize it's up to you. You're the decision maker, and you're one decision away from your future.
And what about like intentions? Like when we have focused intentions on achieving goals, how does that work?
Well, that's very important. You have to have my two big things is intent and instinct. I call them the dual paths to success. You have to have intent. You have to know what you want. That's very important. You have to have a direction. If you've ever seen a Claymore mine, you've ever heard of a Claymore mine?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it has a sign that says front towards the enemy. Direction is important. Your direction, your projection is very important. Knowing where you want to go, because if you don't know where if you don't know where you want to go, I don't know how you're going to get there. That's very
Yeah,
important.
yeah. Intentions are so important, and I do that every morning. I have a practice where I do segment intending, where I set
Mhm.
small intentions for the day and things that are
Right.
coming up, and go, wouldn't it be amazing if this happened today? Wouldn't it wonderful if this is happening today? You know, and so those intentions I put out, and usually stuff starts to happen. It may not all happen at the same time, but or
Right.
that day, but you'll see little synchronicities coming up in your life. I'd like to ask you about the principles behind the dreamers of the day, and why the collective manifestation amplifies success.
Well, I teach part of my life coaching and life hacking. I teach manifestation, but I also know group intent is powerful than single intent. If you can get a group behind you, it's very important. It's like way back in the day, there was a radio program, very famous here in America, called, it's done by Art Bell. And there was somewhere around in America, there was drought. And he did an experiment with his people listening. He said, I want everybody to pray or concentrate on this area that they get rain. Well, he did that several times and quit doing it. They get a flood each time. Intent is very powerful. It happens. Whether you believe it or not, it works, it happens. And if you get group intent, if you get a group behind you that's all thinking, help each other, think about, like somebody says, could you give me some energy towards what I'm trying to do? Just you think, help him, your group intention matters. I have a basic belief that any wish or desire with enough energy behind it has to manifest.
And a collective energy is going to
Yes.
amplify it, right?
Yeah, I call that the law of attraction on steroids.
Yeah, and because you've got a group of people that are that are putting the energy towards the common goal.
Yes.
So it's got to happen, right? It's got to come
You
into
got it
fruition.
happen.
Yeah, absolutely. What about life hacking for success? What are the practical strategies to optimize your mindset, your habits, and daily routines for peak performance?
Well, I have a basic formula I follow. When I was first trying to learn how to manifest, read a lot of different guys, a lot of different people. But the one I went that made sense to me, and go with what makes sense to you. It can work, but some things work better for other people than others. When I worked, there's a lady down in Texas, grand old lady, no longer with us, called Helene Hatzel. And she had a formula for it. It's called SPEC, SPEC, SPEC. Select, project, expect, collect. You select what is you want. What is you want to have, be, or do. Then you project it. You see yourself having it. Now it's like a movie, but you're in it. You're not disassociated, you're associated. It's just like it's happening for real. A movie that you step in. In your mind, it's all done. Bring
Mm,
anything in your life, imagine it's already there. That's projection. Now expect it. It's coming. It's coming. You don't know when. It's just like if you put an order online, you put an order at the restaurant. You know it's coming. You already ordered it. And if you order online, you've already paid for it. So you know it's coming. It might come tomorrow, it may come the next day, but you know it's coming. You expect it. Then collect it. That's the fun part. But I say they
yeah,
flow into each other. You got to expect it to collect it.
that's so true. And the subconscious mind only knows about the present moment. So whatever you're speak, whatever you're selecting and you're projecting has to be in this present moment, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like to tell people, don't overcomplicate it.
yeah,
I like to, like kids, keep it simple, stupid, keep it stupid simple. A lot of people just overcomplicate it. You think about what you want and you strong feeling behind it, like you're living it, and it will come. And
mm,
I say a person only needs three things to succeed in life. They need a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone.
yeah,
Like I said, don't overcomplicate it. So many people overcomplicate this thing. It's not that overcomplicated. I mean, like I say, you study success needs clues. Like you have 100 different millionaires, they'll give you 100 different ways they made $1 million. but they all usually have a basic thing. Even winners in sports, they see themselves. They know what they want. They see what they want. They know what they want. Whether it's to win in business, to win in their sport, they know what they want. They see themselves winning. They can see it. You got to see it to get it, and then they know they're going to get it. They have no doubt. They know if they do what is required to get, they're going to get it. And there's one fourth thing I would add to that: attitude. Attitude is so important. Even W.C. Fields back in the day said nothing is more important than attitude. Education, money, connections, none of it matters like attitude. Now, what is attitude? That's your mental state. What is your mental state? That's how you see yourself, your self-image. And that's so important. And when I explain to people about self-image, when a dog has babies, it has dogs. When a cat has babies, it has cats. Well, are you a child of God? Well, when God has babies, it has gods. I'm not saying you're the big God, but you're God in your own life. And what you think about will come to pass. That's that's attitude. You know, when you have the attitude that know who you are and what you are so self-confident. You are so have so much self-respect. What can stop you?
Yeah.
That's why it's simple, but it's a lot of times because people have been kicked in the teeth so many times in their life. Before a person is 18 years old, they've been told over 100,000 times, you can't do it. You're too young, you're too old, you're too this, you're too fat, you're too short, you're too big, you're whatever. And me, in a small period of time, I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Once you know who you are and you accept who you are, yes, you can. If you decide to do it, it'll happen. The hardest thing is deciding. The rest is just tenacity.
Yeah. I guess a lot of people, when they go through those adversities and the hard times, they, I guess, they lose faith in themselves. At least
Yes.
they lose that belief in themselves and backing themselves. I mean, I'm a true testament to this. Like I've been through so many restructures and four redundancies, and it's like I've just kept getting back up and keep going.
That's it.
And and I have no option because as a host of the Champion Mindset pro, uh, podcast, I've got to talk do what I've talked about. So
Mhm.
practice what I preach. Um, and so that's for me. This whole collective of speaking with people like yourself, coaches like yourself, has really kept me going. And it's so amazing having people, coming and sharing their thoughts
Right.
and what they believe and what they practice and what they teach. Because I've learned so much through that. Now, one other thing I wanted to ask was, and there's a lot of people that talk, and these are well-known people that talk about you've got to not only think about it and visualize it, but you've also got to connect with your emotions, and that emotional state is what brings it into existence. Is that correct?
Yes, feelings are very important. You have
Mm,
to feel whatever the more senses you can bring into play, the better it is. It's just
mm,
like whatever it is you want. If you can like see it, you can feel it, you can smell it, and you make it a part of you, just like it's real. And
mm,
it's just your imagination, but your imagination brings it forward. Now, unless somebody says, "Well, I can't see." Well, that's part of your problem. You can't see. But
mm,
once you see and you're going to get it. That's part
mm,
of like when I was talking about backbone. You can't be
mm,
wishy-washy about this. Well, I kind of, I meditated on it for a few days. I didn't see it, and I don't think it's going to happen. Well, guess what? It ain't. But
yeah,
like I said, and people always wonder, well, I can't see how this. You don't have to see the how. The how is completely unimportant. You
good,
just got to
good.
want it, and a lot of times a good why is important. Why do you want it? And you
Mm,
have, like I said, that feeling, the energy behind it is so important, and feeling is so important in part of this. Very important.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So for someone who's never really got into manifestation and doing the selecting and projecting and expecting and collecting technique, what would you say to them? Where would they start? What would they even do
Well,
first?
it really doesn't matter where you start. You start big, you start small. A lot of people start small because it's easier for them to imagine something small happening in their life.
Mm,
But the fact of the matter is, and you'll find out if you do this for a while, that it's easy to manifest a cup of coffee are as easy to manifest $1 million home as it is to manifest a cup of coffee.
Mm,
You just go like once you know what you want, then you set up your life and way you can get it. And you don't know how. You just have to have the want. The how will present itself. Like people say, "What do I just sit in my room and it comes to me?" Well, it can come that way. It can drop in your life like a fairy's gift. On my own experience, just walking down the street one day, I didn't have any money in my pocket, and I really wanted a cup of coffee. And I was walking down the street, I saw $1 bill. I thought, okay, that's nice, but I really wish I had 100. Well, a couple more steps, there it was. Now, stuff like this doesn't always happen, but it happened. Well, now I can afford that cup of coffee. And I'm sure you're sure this is a counterfeit or something, but yeah, it's a real $100 bill.
yeah.
So that it can drop in your lap as a first gift, or it comes some other way. But once you start manifesting, contemplating what you want, then things will also present themselves. Well, I can do this to get it. I can go this
Mm,
way to get it. Like I said,
mm,
the how is not important. The want, the desire, the wish, that is important.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I've in my personal life that I've noticed recently is that, well, actually for a while now, is that the mindset of people in the programming that we've been through, where the only way to earn money is through a job, right?
Mhm.
And we've been programmed that this is the only way, and everyone puts their eggs all in one basket. But money comes to us from multiple sources.
Yes.
I mean, if you listen to Bob Proctor and people like that, they say that money money comes from different sources. It doesn't come
Yes.
from one single source. Um, what would you say to those people who have it in their mindset that the only way to attract money to you is through a job?
Well, I say start looking around you. And a
Mm,
lot of people that became very rich, they didn't get that rich from their job. They may have started a job, and also, like I say, I don't really try to convince anybody anymore. If you're open to it, I'm more than willing to tell you what I think or help you
mm,
get there. But nowadays, I'm just looking for my tribe. If what I say
mm,
resonates with you, fine, we can take it from there. If you think I'm some Looney Tunes, fine, grow in your own way. Whatever works for you. I'm no longer trying to convince anybody. I know what works in my life. I've seen what works in other people's life. I've seen that there's clues to success, and successful people follow basic steps. They know what they want, and then they set their life up so they can get it. And the how's not important. There's all kinds of ways. You could win the lottery, and if that's your main goal and desire, but it may not come that way. Your wealth may come another way. But first, the only thing you can think of, the only way I could possibly make this kind of money is through the lottery. Well, that's a way to start, but you may not come that way. It may come another way. You don't know. There's
mm,
all kinds of ways that money can come.
So the key is to stay open, right?
Yes,
And be available for money to come to you, for abundance to come to you. It's not just about money, but whatever you want to manifest in your life, whether it's love, whether it's health, whether it's money, wealth, being available and open to all possibilities.
right. And
Would you say that's right?
manifesting opens the door. Something
Yeah.
may come through the door, or you may have to walk through the door, but you got to be ready to walk through the door.
Yeah.
But manifesting opens the door.
Yeah. I have this analogy of you've got to walk up to the automatic door sensor for the door to open, right?
Hmm.
If you
Yeah,
if you stand away from the sensor, the door's not going to open.
right.
It's when you take that step forward, right? And you talked about the how. So if you program in your GPS to go somewhere and you're on your way to on a trip, and all of a sudden there's an accident or there's some sort of incident, your GPS is going to tell you to take a detour.
Right.
So, you've got to trust. You've got to trust the process that you're still going to get where you're going to want to go. You may just go through different
Yes, may have to take
roads
another
to
direction.
get
That's
there.
also another big part, like I said, is instinct. Your internal GPS, your internal
Mm,
compass. Once you learn to trust that, it will. Once you have the intent, your compass will tell you which way to go. And sometimes you got to sit down till you find until it's clear to you which way to go.
mm,
You got to trust that internal. To me, I'm very big on instinct, trusting your
mm,
own gut instinct. Like I always say, do you have the guts to trust your gut? Do you have the courage to express who you are? That's what, once again, back to the backbone. Wishing is fine, but you gotta have backbone. And life is funny, so you better have a funny bone.
Absolutely. Tell us about the backbone. What do you mean by having a backbone?
That means not being wishy-washy. Like, give me an example, like, somebody's entering contest and they say, well, you put your entry in the mail and say, there goes nothing. Well, I'm going to try. Well, you can try till the cows come home. You don't try, you do. To quote Yoda, you do. There's no try. There's do or do not. You do. You
Yeah,
don't try. That's the
yeah,
backbone. You got to get behind this thing, and you start, convince yourself. Look at other people that all they did, they had it in their mind and they did it. So,
yeah,
are you so special that you can't do it? Because this is how, I mean, look, once again, success these clues. Study the people that have done it, or study someone that's where you are now, wherever you're starting from. Some people start from scratch, some people start pretty well off, and see how did they go from there to get to where they're at. Now, you may
yeah,
not go the same way, but just by studying somebody else, you can learn all kinds of things. Just sometimes just being around them helps you.
yeah, yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is that when you be the person that you want to be, or the things that you want to have, you've got to be that person first. You've got to do the things that those people do, and then you'll
Yes.
have the things that you want
Mhm.
right in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
And it may not come just the way they did it, but there's something about hanging around the right group of people. Like the
Mm,
old saying is so true. You are the five people you spend most time with. Now, you say, well, I don't know any evil. Well, go find somebody online and listen to them. Somebody that resonates with you. And then find somebody else. You hang around them. Start listening to them more than you listen to your friends that say, no, you can't. It makes a difference.
mm,
It will change you.
mm,
But if you can get a personal association, getting just hanging out with a person that's successful can change your life. I
mm.
mean, like I said, it's all energy. And you are the five people you hang around most. You are. You're the sum total.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I've heard that from a lot of people. That is so true.
That is so true. And abundance is energy. When you're vibrating at the right energy level, then you're going to become a match for that, for whatever that is seeking you as well, and you're going to attract that into your life. So really, it's about raising your vibrational energy to a level that is a match for whatever you're
Mhm.
looking for. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So let's talk about how you've studied the patterns of highly successful people and applied their techniques in your coaching practice. Tell us more about that.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff online now. But back in my day, if you wanted to study such person, you get the book, either about them or written by them. You can learn a book in a few days, what took them a lifetime to learn. And like I say, after a while, you start seeing success clues, and there's common threads among successful people and unsuccessful people.
Mm,
And start studying that. And also, once you can get caught up in a book, you can get caught up in a book, and like a bomb can go off next to you, and you won't notice it. And that same thing, you're getting caught up in this person's life, and you're starting to be successful. Like also, there's a lot of books out there that when I first was studying success, they are basically ignorant. There's nothing in there that's going to help you. But find somebody that's done what you want to do. If this is what you want to do, and just study how they did it. But a lot of times it all starts with your desire, your want. Like I said, however it happens, I'm a big believer in spec. I think that's a great formula for manifesting. And the lady that I learned from, Helene Hassel, she did it again and again in her life. She won, her big thing was prizes. So if you're constantly winning prizes, it's more than just luck here. There's something at play. She won cars, money, trips, a house. Again and again and again. When somebody's winning again and again, maybe she's done something special. Maybe you should listen to her. And I started, there's all kinds of people there. We're trying to teach back when it got real popular in the book, The Secret came out. But she's the one that made sense. And one of the top guys from The Secret, I can't recall his name right now, but he said Helene Hassel should have been in The Secret
mm,
because she was doing everything that they're talking about in The Secret, and she did it. And also, if you're trying to learn something like manifesting, once again, find somebody who's doing it, who's done it, and succeeded again and again. Maybe they're doing it a little different than other people.
yeah,
Because a lot of people
yeah,
that are out there teaching manifestation, like they read one book and then they started doing seminars. Well, they might be on some and they might not. You
mm,
better find somebody that's winning and find out how they're winning, and then maybe you can start winning.
Yeah.
Actually, you will start winning.
You will. Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about overcoming roadblocks and limiting beliefs. So the most common mental blocks that hold people back and how to break through them.
The most common mental block is your own attitude. That's it.
Mm,
You know how you see yourself. Most people do not see themselves as a winner, and because they look upon their life experience, and I have to convince them that they are a winner. They don't really realize they don't even add up all the times in their life they have won. Do you realize even the odds of you being born are greater than the lottery? The odds you've been born, the odds you surviving your first year. Every
mm,
microbe in the world comes at you your first year, and you survived it. You got over it. And you think back in your lives how this happened, that happened, but you got through it. You lived through it. So you are a winner. I have to convince people they're a winner. Once they convince your attitude, and like I said, dogs have dogs, cats have cats, gods have gods. You're a child of God. Start acting like it. Were you created to live under the bridge? You created to be broke, unsuccessful. Your all your experience in relationships go to doo doo.
mm,
No, you're meant for better things. But you
mm,
have to convince yourself. Start seeing yourself doing it, and you have to get a vision that's so strong of where you want to go that it pulls you. You don't need motivation. You're pulled by this vision. You'll be pulled out of bed in the morning. You'll want to
mm,
do this. This is going to lead me where I want to go, and I want to go there so bad. It just drags you. It's just like
mm.
now being dragged toward just your thing because you have this vision. You see yourself doing it. You know you're going to do it. You know you can have it, and it's coming. So it drags you forward. It brings you forward when you wouldn't want to. I mean, it can make a weak soul strong, and it can make a weak body strong as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like when your attitude is not in the right place, it's exhausting. You're exhausting yourself, and you're actually creating that reality, right? Yeah. Why does self doubt and fear like why are they illusions that can be reframed into fuel for success?
That's well, you put it perfectly. Reframing it.
Mm,
Okay, you see what your problem is, and get a mental picture of it. Well, shrink it down, change its color, flip it.
mm,
You're in control of your mind, right? So you can
mm,
take these pictures, and then what you want, what you do, then you make it big, make it bright,
mm,
turn up the sound. The sound on your negative picture, turn it down. If it make it small, make it fuzzy, flip it around, make it go backwards, give it some funny old time music. And these mental pictures that are holding you back won't hold you back as much anymore, and you'll head towards the picture you want to head towards. It's
mm.
direction. You get the perfect word, reframing it. We have frameworks in our mind. You just have to reframe it.
Yeah, and it's rewriting that story, right? I heard, I think it was Neville Goddard that said that
I
in the
heard of it.
present moment, you can go back into your past and you can rewrite that story
Yeah.
in this present moment,
Yes.
and that creates a new future for you, right?
Mhm.
So often people are stuck in their lives because they're still holding on to that emotional it's almost like they're addicted to the emotion of whatever happened in the past, and they cannot release themselves from that. And the way to do it is to rewrite that story and let that story go because it wasn't true.
The people do NLP, if you've heard of that, do something very similar. They just
Mm,
reframe it.
reframe it. Yeah.
They learn to do it themselves or have somebody else do it for you. It's just like if you go do something like this, I'm not about giving control to anybody else. Learn to be in control of your own life. But you can learn to control and reframe your own life pictures, your own life feelings. It's just like you can take what happened in your past and you can change it. It's possible. NLP is one way of doing it. There's other ways of doing it, but that's the
Mm,
same thing. It's reframing.
yeah. There's and in the cognitive behavioral therapy, they've got the 3C method, which is the catch your thought, check your thought, and change your thought.
Right.
And when you change your thought, you change your emotions, and when you change your emotions, you change your actions, and then that creates a different reality.
It's like watch your thoughts, watch your words, because these things become your reality. You know, what
Mm.
words are coming out of your mouth? What
Yeah,
thoughts are coming out of your head?
yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, like I'm not telling people so much to change, but become who you are. Because a lot of you've been programmed.
Mm.
That's not really the you. Find out who you are, what you want. And once you see what you are and what you want, you can do what you want to do. And some people, like I say, a lot, you've been told again and again and again that you can't do it. And I'm saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I can show examples of people who have done it. Now, you've heard of Bruce Lee, right?
Mhm.
I'm not sure. He was a little guy. Do you know he had to wear glasses? He couldn't see far. He had. That's why he's wearing contacts in his movies because he couldn't. That's why he first started studying Wing Chun because he needed a close range martial art. He couldn't
Mm.
fight for him. He had to get him in close to find him. Do you know he's partially humpback?
Oh,
You know
no.
he had one leg shorter than the other.
Mm.
With all the he see all these things didn't hold him back.
No.
He a
Yeah,
little guy, a little deformed, bad eyesight, and became a fantastic, amazing physical specimen. Because he
yeah,
didn't like one of his students once said, "Who told him he could be so good?" Someone like who told him he could be so good? And exactly. You need
yeah,
to start telling yourself or find somebody that tells you how good you can be.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And when you do that, it builds that confidence within you. And you can achieve anything that you want. And it's just
Mhm.
having that belief in yourself and the backing. And for me, that started back at the age of, I think it was about 26 when in my life when I started my personal development journey. And for me, that was like I didn't pass anything at school. I failed miserably. Left school at 16, and then I just worked my way up, and I said I can do that. And even though I remember one role that I was doing was needed engineering degrees, and I had nothing. And I said to the manager, I said, "Give me an opportunity. I can show you I can do that, the same job that those guys are doing." And he was like, "Why?" I said, "Yeah, give me an opportunity." And he did, and I did it, you know. And it's like when you have that belief that's so strong inside you that no matter what it is, you can learn and you can do it.
And guess what would happen if you hadn't have asked?
Yeah,
Well, I'm not
exactly.
really qualified for this. Well, somebody else higher educated will probably get it, but you asked. See?
I asked. Yeah,
Made all the difference in the world
yeah,
because you just had enough confidence to ask. A lot of people
yeah.
never ask. It's just like winning prizes. A lot of people say, "Well, I never win anything." Well, what's the last time you entered? Well, I didn't enter.
Ah, could be
Like
anyone.
stories about once again about the lottery. One of my favorite stories about the lottery. There was this guy supposedly once upon a time that prayed and prayed and prayed to win the lottery. He prayed, God, please let me win the lottery. I'll do this if I'll do that if I'll do all these good works. Please, God, let me win the lottery. Well, day after day, week after week, month after month. And finally said, God, I prayed again and again fervently to win the lottery. Why? Please tell me why you won't let me win the lottery. Well, the angel Lord appeared to him that night and said to him, have you considered buying a ticket? Sometimes it's just that simple.
It is. That's simple. As I said before, you've got to be in to win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
the door opens, you gotta be able to go through it.
yeah,
But first it starts with the knowing what you want. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
look around you and set up your life so you can get it. It's really,
Exactly.
it's simple. I try and make it simple as I can in my own teachings. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm a big believer in manifesting is a big part of my life coaching and life. I call it life hacking because I believe you can bend life to your will.
Oh, absolutely, you can. Yes, and you can also collapse time and bring whatever is in the future to you right
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
But you've got to meet that future. You can't stand still. You've got to keep moving
Right.
forwards. So you're moving towards that future, right? And for me, like I said before, I've been through 4 redundancies, and the last one was in October. And I said to myself, I'm not going back into a 9 to 5 job,
Right.
right? It's not an option. And so I started my own business doing automation and AI and so on. And uh, within 3 weeks of starting it, I landed my first client. And, that gave me the confidence. But, yes, I don't know everything about it, but I can learn,
Hmm.
and I'm applying myself. I'm learning things. And, but what I did is I had an intention that that is what I was going to do. And that was what I was going to move forward towards. And when you keep doing that, like you said before, when you move forward, the door opens for you. Um, and every time I've done that, taken a step forward, the doors have opened.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And this big thing, people have to overcome their fears. They have
Mm,
to. And the best way
mm,
to do it is just take take action. People are so afraid of failing. Well, I'm far
mm,
more afraid of not succeeding. I
yeah.
understand the fear of failure. I understand that. I'm just like, I'm human like everybody else. I have the same fears and doubts, but I've learned for myself what works in my life and that I'm a little braver than I thought I was.
Mm,
And maybe if you look down and get down, you'll think, most people find out they're a little braver than they thought they was. And,
mm,
don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of knock down. Some of the greatest successes in the world have been knocked down. They don't tell
mm,
you. They just see the win. They don't see what this guy had to go through to get the win. Some people, they just glide into it. Other people had to work hard, but they got there. Like one of the best basketball players in the world was Michael Jordan. He couldn't make his high school basketball team. What if he said, "Well, this isn't for me"? What if his parents and his dad told him, "Well, I guess you're just not meant for basketball"? But he practiced real hard that summer, tried again, made the team. But how many
mm,
people didn't make the team and said, "Well, this just ain't for me"?
mm,
That's the difference.
yeah.
Somehow, who told him he could be that good? I don't know. But somebody, he told himself, or somebody told him, "Yeah, you can do it," and he did it.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Reggie, tell us about your journey into fighting CPS injustice and
Uh,
how that experience reinforced the need for resilience, self advocacy, and the belief in a higher purpose.
well, this is hard for a lot of people to believe unless you've been through it. But I had my kids taken away from me twice unjustly, and I got them back. Both times I got them back. Had to fight the system to get them back. Got them back. Never gave up. Always believed I was going to win. I knew it's just like they used to say in the Texas Rangers: "Little guy beat the big guy. If the little guy's right and keeps on coming." And I mean, what I started to find out is so much corruption in family court system. It's just unbelief, and it's all big money behind it. There's the federal funds the state for every child they take. These states have grown dependent on the funding from the federal government. So they have to take a certain amount of children each year or more, or they can't meet their budget. And it's hard to believe that. I've been through this, I know it. And they can take your children without a warrant. They can keep them without a jury trial. You don't get a jury trial in family court until it's uh, the end of whether or not they'll take them away from you or not. But when you first go to court, you don't get a jury trial. So everybody you're up against, and they'll send them to go to a pediatrician. You give them a child, they'll give you a case. Like I said, I don't blame. Once again, I don't blame anybody for not believing me. No, CPS cannot be this rotten. The family court system cannot be this rotten. State welfare cannot be this rotten. Well, I've lived through it, and I've defeated them twice. I've even had them come a third time to my house. At least this time, the CPS worker had a little common sense
Mm,
that this house is cleaner than mine. Somebody told them a
mm,
story, and they investigated. And like I said, I still have my children, still got them back, and I know I'm going to upset some people here, but I have to tell the truth. My child has autism.
mm,
I have no doubt that the state vaccinated him when he was not in my care. Now,
mm,
people feel all kinds of ways about vaccination, but I'm convinced in my own mind that he got autism because he's vaccinated, and he was vaccinated against me and his mother's will. But like I said, we keep fighting, we keep going on. We're working with him. We think we can bring him back.
mm,
I don't believe that autism is incurable. I basically believe there are no incurable diseases or conditions. There's only incurable stupidity. So
yeah.
we're going after it. We're still working. We're studying everything we can. We're doing everything we can, and we're going forward. And in time, we think if we can't bring him fully well, we can get him a lot better.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I've been kicked in the teeth. I mean, I've had to take on the state twice, and I've won twice.
Mm,
So I know you can come back from
mm,
hard times. And I mean,
mm,
it almost financially, it almost busted me. Hiring lawyers, going through the whole thing, it's a mess, and it can destroy families. It can destroy marriages. But my marriage is still strong. I have my children, and yes, you can win. I believe. I always know I can win. I keep at it. I win. I know I'm right. I'm going to win. Like it didn't look like it, and that's what another thing. A lot of times it don't look like it at all that you're going to get what you want. But if
mm,
you have that attitude, you know who you
mm,
are, you know what
mm,
you're about, and you're going to win. So
mm,
yeah, you come back from very hard situations. I've done it,
mm. Yeah.
and it almost broke me, almost destroyed my family. But we're together, and there's a thing in Japan where they repair broken pottery with gold, and you can repair it and bring it back and make it stronger than ever. There's a name for it in Japanese, but I can't think of it right now. And I think
Mm,
that's what I've done. What I continue to do. You take the broken thing and you make it fill the cracks with gold and make it better and stronger.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. And so you just got to find that gold that's going to bring him back
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So what have you learned about perseverance and facing that impossible odds?
That's part of it. Yeah, as long as you believe in yourself and whatever your religion, you believe in your God. You believe in yourself. You believe in your God, and you know who you are and what you are. You know what your weaknesses are, and you know what your strengths are. And you know though that you're a child of God, and you can make things happen just by thinking about it.
Mm,
And when you see the opportunity, you take it.
mm,
That works in all situations because I don't care who you are, sooner or later in life, you're going to get knocked down. It
mm,
happens. I don't care who you are.
mm,
People think, well, they never had it hard. Well, you don't know what's going on in the background. Somewhere, somewhere in life, everybody's been knocked down. It's all about the getting back up.
mm,
If you get up one more time, knock you down, guess who wins? You do.
mm, mm.
So that's very important. Like I said, it comes down to attitude. Sometimes you have to be a little delusional, but you keep coming back
Yeah.
because you know who
Never
you
give.
are.
Yeah. Never give up. Just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the science of success. So why success isn't random and it follows specific patterns and behaviors.
Well, like I said, everything has patterns and behaviors. Like you want to win to win. Well, so that's these clues. It's just like a detective. A crime scene has clues there. It's there. Or you get a file. Well, it's there in there somewhere. You're going to have to search it out. But there's clues. There's always clues. And success definitely needs clues. You find out somebody's system. Well, what they do? How they go about it? How they maintain? Learn from them. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. That's a big thing. Learn from other people. I mean, you don't like a lot of it's up to you, but you don't have to always do it all yourself. That's once again, get a team, get people. Like when I
Mm,
had trouble with the state, I went to a whole bunch of advocates that were believe what they know what's going on in CPS, they know what's going on in family court, and then I started. I did a whole. Me and my wife did all kinds of podcasts too. We made a lot of noise. Well, the court, you better have all your facts straight because this is all coming out. And we got a lot of public opinion, and they had to do the right thing, give our children back. And it's just like now, more like my coaching, I get the word out. And like I said, I'm not trying to convince anybody anymore. I'm just looking for my tribe. You're out there. If I exist to you, maybe you should look into it. And not me, look at somebody else because I hope I give you enough. Anybody just listening here, enough where I've told you, here's what you need to do to be a success. Spec is a great system. The three things you need: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. I mean, go through history. I mean, you've heard of Genghis Khan, right?
yes.
Genghis Khan, one of the greatest conquerors of all time. Whatever you think he was right or wrong, nobody else in the world, no other king compares to him. This guy came from nothing. He was a illiterate hunter herdsman. He conquered the world. Now, what was about him that was different? His personality was different. He knew how to build a team. And like he used to tell his men, if there's a mountain passage that's too difficult to cross, all you have to do is want to cross it, and you will cross through. If there is a river that's too difficult to cross, all you must do is desire to cross it, and you will cross over. Success always lies on the other side of the impossible obstacle. As you get in trouble, you'll find a way out. Genghis Khan taught his men that. And there's been no greater influence on the humans. I mean, it made a greater influence on human history than maybe Jesus Christ or Buddha or Muhammad. But just a regular man, not even a religious guy. And it's just amazing what this guy's accomplished. Whatever else you think about him. Well, he was a vicious barbarian, was he? You study the history. You may find out he's just a great king. And when it came to war, he was better than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, everybody was fighting war. Everybody was killing everybody. He was just better at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's the story that you tell.
And once again, who told him he would be so great? Who told him he could be so good? He came from nothing.
Yeah.
But look what he taught. And like I said, these what he taught his men, you can learn from.
Yeah.
And like he was talking about just believing it and doing it way back then. I mean, Napoleon said, "Imagination rules the world." These things, these teachings are nothing new. And and once again, you want to go religious teachings, it's in there too. You want to look for it, it's in there. I mean, I've heard some Christians say, well, the law of attraction is not Christianity. I said, well, maybe you ought to look again. It's in there. It's in the book. And like I say, Islam, it's in there. It's a teaching, almost any religion, the same teachings about manifestation and law of attraction is in there. It may be worded a little different, but it's in there.
I mean, as the Bible says that it talks about whatever you want, ask and believe it with all your heart, and that you and receive it even before you've got it. So there you go. It's already in the Bible, right? So, a lot of people go, "Oh, yeah, please give me this," but it's like, well, you've got the power within you. You are created in the image of God, so you've got the creating ability. Look at all the humans have created.
Right.
And so if we've created all these things, then we can create any reality that we want.
Yes. Everything that's in the hand was first in the head.
And we've got to get out of our heads and get more into our hearts when we really believe with our heart. And I found this out a while ago, recently, that the brain wasn't the first organ formed. It was the heart. And the heart brain was the first organ, right? So when you go and get a scan and you've got that beat, and it's the heart brain, and then the rest of the body forms. So, and if you look into like the chakras, the heart is the biggest energy center, and that's the one that sends the signal to your brain and says, start creating this reality. So the more we get out of the chatter in our brains and silence that chatter, or just accept it and let it pass and get more into our hearts, the more we're going to be in congruence with ourselves, and the more we're going to be able to manifest things into our lives.
Like I said, there's no better friend than your own wise heart. Some people say the heart, some people say the gut. It's coming from you. There's a brain beside your brain. And when you learn to trust that and understand it, it'll direct you in the right way. I have a great story I like to tell. There was a couple, I heard this a while back. I don't remember who originated it. Some psychiatrist is using his practice, but it's a good story. Probably, I heard it was true. Some farm boys were on the farm and a stray horse came by. Well, one farm boys got up on its back and got on the road with it. Well, and the horse stayed down the road. Occasionally, it would try to go off in the field and eat the grass. He'd direct it back to the road. Before long, they came to a farmhouse. And the guy said, "Hey, you found my horse. How'd you know how to find me?" He said, "I didn't. I just kept the horse on the road. He knew the way home." That's basically what I
Mm,
did. You know the way
mm,
home. I just keep you on the road.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Now, the keys and habits and mindsets and daily rituals that separate those who have succeeded from those who or succeed from those who don't. Tell us more
Right.
about that.
Well, there's some rich guys would kind of laugh at like meditation, but when you break it down, you'll think somewhere along the line they seriously thought about what they wanted. They got a clear picture of it in their mind. And they would laugh at meditation, but this is what they're doing. Very similar. See, that's why I talk about success leaves clues. Now, there's different ways that work. Some people like to put like a pebble in their hand when they're thinking about what they want. Just roll it around, kind of like some people use a prayer beads. Just that pebble roll around the hand. Some people like they start getting negative thought. They put a rubber band on the wrist and they snap it, and they associate negative thoughts with pain. Well, nobody wants pain, and also snaps them out of their negative thinking. They get back. Okay, this ain't the way. Let's go back to thinking about it like it's going to happen. They snap that negative thought away. So use what works for you. You know, you got people have little rituals that just like some people like have goals. I use the word targets. I say use what word for you. Some people like affirmations. I use the word incantations. And it's not witchcraft, it's wishcraft. But incantation,
Yeah,
it's an affirmation where you fully feel it. I mean, it is
absolutely.
real. An affirmation. And another thing I like to say, and this is from way back, I think it was Jim Rohn, if I'm
Mm,
thinking, they originally came up with this. Affirmations with discipline create miracles. Affirmations without discipline is the beginning of delusion.
mm, yeah, I totally agree. I think I've heard that one before, and
Mhm.
it is so true because if you're saying those affirmations and you're disciplined and you're taking action,
Yes. Mhm.
then you're going to have
They'll
success.
create
Yeah,
miracles. But I say it can drop in your lap like a Ferris wheel. But quite often, your manifestation will show you the way to go. More often than not, you're going to have to take some kind of step.
yeah,
Sometimes it just happens. Like I say,
yeah,
that's why you don't worry about the how. Well, I can't see it. You don't have to see. All you have to see is what you want.
yeah.
And if I have to beat that into people, I'll beat it into them.
Yeah, I have a story. Back in 2019, I was out of work for about 9 months, and I was like, "What am I going to do? Just haven't got work." And then a friend of mine said, um, and I mean, I was earning probably $90,000 just before I got made redundant. And a friend of mine said, "Look, you can come and do a 2 month contract at a lottery organization doing some uh, data entry work, and it's going to pay $62,000." And I was like, and then I thought about it, going, well, that's a lot less than what I was earning before.
Right.
And then I thought, hang on, I'm not even earning 62,000 at the moment, right?
Hmm.
So, so it's like, okay, so what do I do? So I decided, no matter what, I was going to have that certainty without logic, and I was going to take that first step. I was going to take that first step and go, I'm going to go and do this. And I lived miles away. I had to drive a car, catch two buses and a train to get to where I was going every day. And I did that. And when the first day that I started at that role, that job, I got an interview with another company, and I ended up getting the job at that company where I was for 3.5 years before I got made redundant. But the the moral is that opportunities will come and people will come into your life, and if you don't take that step and don't take that opportunity, then you're actually letting it pass by.
Hmm.
And just recently, where I work from in a co-working space, the CEO and I were walking down towards a lake, and he said to me, "I've got a proposal." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And he said, "How about you do some calling for me to get sales, to get people into the co-working space?" And he said, "How about we start, you start an AI automation business and I'll help you and mentor you." And I was like, you know what? I'm in. Straight away, I just said, I'm in. Let's do this. And, 3 weeks into my business, I got my first client.
Hmm.
So, and who I'm doing some work for now. And I know, and the situation that I'm in now at the moment is that I am on a mortgage holiday, and my mortgage kicks back in 1 month's time, and I haven't got the regular income, but I have got some income coming in, and yet I'm so certain, without logic, that everything is going to work out. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the daily steps to drive to that co-working space, to network with other people, and again, I needed my website designed, and this business owner there, who's a graphic designer, said, I'll do it for you for free. And then I need my website built, and another guy said, I'll do it for you for free. And I'm like, wow, it's like, you don't have to, what you said before, you don't have to do things by yourself. When you're surrounded by amazing people, they are going to help you get through
Hmm. Oh
those.
yeah,
Yeah.
makes a
So
difference.
yeah. So the key is, no matter what your situation, where you are today, if you build that resiliency in yourself, and if you build that certainty without the logic that you in the logic tells you that nothing's going to happen, but you could still got that certainty, and you trust that process, that the universe and God is going to come back you up. It's there, and also that you all you've got to do is get up every day, take that step forward, and as you take those steps, those doors will start to open, because those sensors will sense you coming towards the door, and you'll be in a different reality.
I'm sure other people have said it, but I'm a big believer in 80% of life is showing up.
Yeah,
You asked for the job, the other guy didn't. You asked the girl for a date, the other guy didn't. You called her up a couple of weeks after she turned you down and asked her again, the other guy didn't. 80% of life is showing up. You were there, you were ready to go, the other guy wasn't. Um, like one guy in Silicon Valley back in the day, he was in his office when IBM came calling, the other guy wasn't. 80% of life is being there, 80% of life is showing up.
coming up.
No matter how you feel, dress up, get up, show up. Like I
Exactly.
said, like I said, a lot of the things are so simple, but people don't do them or disregard them. They're so
Yeah,
simple. Now, I didn't
yeah,
say it's necessarily easy. Sometimes it's not easy, but it's simple.
yeah,
Just do it. Like that famous song, just do it. Well, that's it. Just do it.
yeah. Life is only,
That's it. The other guy didn't do it.
yeah.
Just do
Life
it.
life is only complicated when you complicate things.
Exactly. And a lot of
Yeah,
people, they overcomplicate it. And
yeah,
you start thinking, well, I can't do that. Well, how do you know you can't do that? Who told you couldn't do that? What would happen
yeah.
if you did do it? See, that's getting them out. We talked about it before, reframing. You have to ask yourself good questions. Oh, I can't do it. Well, how do you know you can't do that? Who told you you couldn't do that? What would happen if you did do that? Now you just reframe yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, this has been a great conversation, Reggie, and I'd love to keep in touch and do another episode at some point. If people the audience want to get in touch with you, or they want to connect with you, how can they do so?
Well, I'm all over social media, but the best way to actually find out about Dreamers Today is go to Our Dream Is, the letter R, Dream, DREAM, is.com. Our Dream Is, letter R, small case, R, Dream, DREAM, R, letter R, Dream is.com. Now you can find me on TikTok under Reggie Bowles too. That's REGGIEBOWAS, number two. Or you can find me on X. I don't remember the exact thing right now, but look for somebody that looks like me on X. That's me. Or you can go to Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I'm even on LinkedIn. So I spend more time on X, and I haven't spent much time on TikTok lately in the past, but mostly you can find me on X. I'm always commenting or saying something on X. But if you want to find the website where it tells you how to join Dreamers of the Day, that's the best place to go. It's very short, succinct, but it gives you an exact idea and tells you what to do and how to join up. But if you want, go to any of my social media and you have more questions, I'll be happy to answer you because
Mm.
so much of social media is a waste of time. I wish you'd ask me about Dreamers of the Day. I can tell you about that. I can tell you, like I said, but even if you don't go Dreamers Day, I hope I've given your audience enough where they can just take this and make a big difference in their life. Spec is a big thing about getting what you want. Remember, you only need three things out of life: a wishbone, backbone, and a funny bone. It's so simple, but people just don't do it. But my website's there. You can join the group. And I think group energy makes all the difference in the world. But as always, up to you folks. Do what's best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Reggie, what's your mission? Tell us about your mission.
My mission, as I put it, is to serve man. Have you ever seen The Twilight Zone?
Yes.
Oh, this is not a cookbook. To serve man. My mission is to help other people. Teach them the things I've learned. I do like life coaching. I'm big on manifestation, but I can teach people my ideas on exercise, eating, relationships, anything like that. But the basis of it is getting what you want. I think manifestation is a big part of it. But if I have any message, it's that you are one decision away from your future. You
Yeah.
where you are now, take responsibility for you are now. Bottom line, at the end of the day, it's all on you.
Yeah.
You can have friends, you can have family, but at the end of the day, it's on you. You got to take responsibility. The decision where you are now, whether you like it or not, it's decisions you have made. But you can change that. That's a special thing. Decisions you're going to make or can make can put you exactly where you want to be. It's not too late. I don't care what your age is, how young, how old. It is not too late. You can
Mm.
change your life for the better.
Mm. Reggie, you've mentioned that your mission in the conversation that we had previously, your mission is to show people that they are one decision away from transforming their lives.
Yes.
And if you follow the clues that success leaves, there is no limit to what you can achieve.
No limit.
Yeah, you are limitless. So if you're listening to this, you are limitless. There is no limit. The limit is only that you're putting on. Marilyn Monroe said, "The sky is not the limit. The mind is the limit," because your mind is the one that limits you
If I have
from.
time, I have a short story on Marilyn Monroe.
Mm,
She once was looking out across the lights of Hollywood and think about how many other starlets are out there dreaming of succeeding. But I'm dreaming harder than any of them.
mm, exactly. And so, as you've just said that, dream a big dream. People say, you know, that you shouldn't dream big and that you're crazy or you're stupid for dreaming big. But you know what? If you don't dream big, then you're limiting yourself. So
Yeah.
when you dream big, you're giving yourself all that headroom to reach that potential, right? And so I encourage you, if you're listening and watching this, is to dream big. I've got massive dreams. I'm like, in the next 5 years, I want to be earning $5 million a year in my business. That is my dream. Now, whether I get there or not, I mean, I don't know. But that is my vision. That's my goal. And I'm going to work, put everything I've got into it to get to that dream, right? But my dream is also to change people's lives, is to help people become champions in their own life. And so I just encourage you today, if you're watching this episode, is to dream big, believe in yourself, back yourself, and just take the opportunity and take that first step.
It's like
And
on a
Reggie,
plane, if the oxygen gets off, you put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your child. A lot of people want to help other people. First, you got to get yourself straight. You got to get yourself. The better you are, the better you can help other people.
yeah,
I know there's a
absolutely.
lot of kind people out there, and they're so kind they don't think of themselves. Well, if you don't think of yourself when you put that mask on, your children are going to die. So you better put that mask on yourself first. It's the same
Yeah,
thing with self development. Develop
Yeah,
yourself first, then you can help other people.
absolutely. Yeah, well said, Reggie. Reggie, we've got six really quick questions for you,
All
and
right.
they can be one word or a very quick sentence. The first question is, how do you define success, and has that definition changed over time?
Pretty much it's been the same. Living your own life your own way. That's your success. I mean, money is great. I'm not knocking money at all, but you got to live your own life. If you're not doing what you want to do, if you're going against your own nature, even if you're making a lot of money, it's going to kill you. I mean, stress is the great killer.
Mm,
And you got to do, you got to live your own life, follow your own dream, do what you want to do. As you say in the 60s, you got to do your own thing. You got to be
absolutely.
authentic.
Yeah. Who's been your greatest inspiration and why?
Who's been a great inspiration?
Mm,
Uh, well, Bruce Lee, for one, was a great inspiration. I learned how he came from, and all his disadvantages, and he became what he was. And once again, people in history like Genghis Khan, illiterate hunter herdsman, conquered the world. And a lot of times, like I would look for people, but a lot of ways, I've had to be my own hero.
mm,
And I think a lot of times, that's why people are attracted to superheroes because their parents don't fill that void for them. Now, I
mm,
hope people that have families, you can be your children's superhero, but usually they just don't live up to that. So
yeah.
if you don't have a hero, you gotta make one. And if you're not happy with your family, you gotta make one. Some people have to
Mm,
make their own families; they're by themselves. You bring people in, make your own family. You don't have to be alone. Long as being alone is no good. Make your own family if you don't have family. I'm
yeah.
lucky enough to have found a family, build a family. I've had to fight for my family, and I still have my family, luckily.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all comes down to you.
Mm. What is one thing that you believe that others may disagree with?
That thoughts are things. There's a lot of people that think, everything, if I don't see it, I don't believe it. Thoughts are things, and they matter, literally. Your thoughts matter, literally.
Mm, mm,
Everything's energy, and your
mm,
thoughts affect the energy around you. I'm not saying that the world around you is a simulation, but a lot of times you can affect it like it was. I'm not trying to sell anybody on what the world is or what the world isn't, but I'm telling you about what works or has worked for me and has worked for others. And I think it'll work for you.
mm. Yep, absolutely. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I've thought about that before, and sometimes I think maybe I should tell him nothing. But if I tell him anything, it'd be hang in there.
Yeah,
Hang in there. It gets better. It may look bad now, but it gets better. Hang in there. Just hang on. It gets better.
yeah,
If you just hang on, things will turn around. Just hang on. If I could tell my younger self that, that's what I'd say. I wouldn't tell him anything else because if he hadn't gone through everything he went through, I wouldn't be who I am today.
yeah. And you're only one step away from success. You're only one step away. You're nearly there. If you
Right.
give up, you're going to regret it. So just keep going because what the next step could be
Mhm.
your success. What is one message that you'd like to share with the world?
Pretty much what you said, that you were one decision away from success. A decision you make, no, that's it. That's my decision. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to be. You're one decision away from success. I said it may not happen overnight, and it might. I'm not saying it won't, but you're one decision away from success, just like you're one person away from your future. Guess what? There's one person. Once you find him, everything's going to change in your life. You're one person
Mm,
away from your future. You're one decision away from success. But once again,
exactly.
all actually comes down to you. Learn who you are and what you are, and live that.
Absolutely. And the very last question, and this is a double barrel question,
Right?
is what does it mean to you to be a champion and having a champion mindset?
Being a champion is knowing who you are and what you can grow into. Like a little kid looks in, like in the memes, a little kid looks in the mirror and sees a tiger or a lion. He sees what he's destined to be. That little cub looks like a little kitten, but he's going to be a lion. If he can make it through cubhood, he's going to be a lion. You got to see who you are and then start living it.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Reggie, for such an insightful discussion. I'm sure that the audience have got a lot out of this conversation. And for the listeners, remember, every thought that you have can shape your destiny. So make your thoughts count. And as Reggie said before, you're only one decision, you're only one step away from transforming your life and living a life of success. And lastly, I just want to say you are loved, you are worthy, champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.
Same.